Hey there, and welcome back to another week of Cooper's Virtual Cooking Club. My name is Rafi, and today we're going to be doing a delicious and easy recipe like usual. So today we're going to be working with sweet potatoes. If you don't like sweet potatoes, you can use regular potatoes, but we're going to be making some awesome, healthy sweet potato fries. So the following ingredients are going to be needed for today. So I have 3 sweet potatoes here. I have some olive oil over here. If you don't like using olive oil, you don't have olive oil, you can use regular cooking oil. I have some spices, salt, pepper, and garlic powder, whatever variation of spices you want to use. Additionally, I have a mixing bowl over here, which is going to hold my sweet potatoes, and then the mixture of spices. Additionally, I have a baking sheet here that's lined with parchment paper. Depending on the amount of sweet potatoes that you're making, you might need 2 of these because you want to make sure that everything is spread out and nothing bunches up too much. So let's get started. We're going to get started by cutting up our sweet potatoes. I didn't peel these because I like my sweet potato fries to have the skin on, but if you do like them peeled, feel free to peel them. Sweet potatoes are a great root vegetable. They contain a lot of vitamins and minerals, a lot of fiber, so they're really filling. So I really like to include them in my diet. So let's get started by cutting up this sweet potato. So sweet potatoes are very interesting because unlike other fruits and vegetables, there's different shapes of sweet potatoes, right? These two, one's like significantly bigger than the other. And I also have this sweet potato that I want to show you, for example, like, look at this. This is huge. This is like a size of a football. So sweet potatoes can be tough to cut up because of that, because they have a lot of different shapes and, it's kind of hard. So make sure you have a really good knife that is sharp. I have this one that has some serrations on it. That is a good way to know if your knife is going to be good for this or not. So the way I cut my sweet potatoes is usually like, other things. You have to hold it nice and firm, and you have to cut it in half to start. So it may require 2 hands to make that first chop. So if you look closely, I kind of held it down at the edge and I pushed. So you want to make sure that you get a nice clean cut to start with, so that things get going on the right foot. Okay, so now I have my sweet potato in 2. I'm going to try to make them into almost like French fries, but sweet potato version of that. And however thick you want to make them, that's totally fine, but just know that sweet potatoes take quite some time to cook. Even if your oven is heated at like 400 degrees, it's going to take a little bit of a while. So the thicker you cut them, the longer it's going to take them to bake. So just keep that in mind. So on the same token, you also don't want to make them too thin because they're going to crisp up and burn really quickly. On that note, your oven should be preheated to about 350. You could do it at 370. I'm doing it at 370 because I kind of want to eat these already. So just preheat your oven to 350, 370, whatever you want to do. But once they're in there, just keep an eye on them because you may need to flip them halfway through. Okay, so now my sweet potato are in 2 nice pieces, so I'm gonna just keep kind of splitting them. Sometimes what I like to do is I like to just cut along the back of it and then make another cut if it's too thick. So, you can even do your fries just this way, but you're gonna need to hold that sweet potato nice and firm, and you're gonna need to put a little bit of muscle into those cuts, okay? So I'm going to show you what I mean in a second by saying that I'm going to end up doing another set of cuts, okay? So just watch closely. Just going to want to make some nice, even cuts, okay? So this is relatively even. I was never too good at geometry or visual learning and stuff like that. So you see here, you have a nice piece of a sweet potato. So I'm going to cut it again, probably in maybe 3 or 4 slices, so that this way it's more of a fry type of look. But if you want to bake them in bigger pieces like this, by all means. I just find that these take a longer time to cook, and then you don't end up with as many pieces to eat. So each piece is huge. Okay, so I cut it up into a few fries, so you see that kind of just looks like your French fries. So that's the look that we're looking for. These are like, yay big. So that's the size that I usually aim for when I'm cutting these up. However, like I said, you could do it however you want, but just be aware that however thick or not thick that you end up making them, based on that, that's how long or not long they're gonna end up cooking. So let's cut the rest of these up. So just watch closely. So again, so I have a piece like this, and then I just kind of make a long cut and then another one. So, you know, it shouldn't take you more than 2 or 3 cuts per. See, it's kind of like a big match. So yeah, that's kind of how I cut up my sweet potatoes. Again, everyone has a different way of doing it. Everyone has a different style of how they want their sweet potatoes to cook, or what they want their sweet potatoes to look like. But that is how mine are looking today. So I'm going to cut up the rest of these, and then we will get our olive oil on it, our spices, and then we'll pop it in the oven. Alright, so our sweet potatoes are all now cut up. I did about 1.5 sweet potatoes. You could do more than that. I'm going to cut up the other 1.5 later. I just wanted to show you guys this. So you're going to combine about 2 tablespoons of olive oil with the sweet potatoes. And then you're going to season with some salt. Some garlic powder, and then some pepper, and then you're going to mix that all up, and then we're going to put it on our baking sheet. And your oven should be preheated already, and then you can just pop these right in. So it's interesting with these kind of cook based on how thick or how not thick you ended up cutting them. Mine were somewhere in the middle, so I'm assuming they're going to be in the oven probably for a good 40 minutes or so. It also depends on how crispy you like them. It's tricky with sweet potatoes because like they tend to crisp up, like once they're at a certain point, they crisp up really quickly and then they burn. So in order to avoid that, have your oven light on and check on them, and then, you know, turn them probably every 20 minutes or so. So I'm going to mix this up. We're going to put it on the baking sheet. We're going to make sure on the baking sheet we spread it out so that nothing is like too close to each other, because we want this to bake, not to just like steam. And then we're going to put it in the oven. This one's going to be good. Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention is that you should have a big spoon out so that you can mix everything together, or you could put gloves on like I'm doing. I really don't like the feeling of like oil on my hands. I have gloves on, and then I'm going to mix it all up. You don't need to put oil on your baking sheet because there's oil on your sweet potato fries. So extra helpful to know that. Things on the net, by all means. You can also put them on once they're all laid out on the baking sheet. So now I'm going to lay these out on the baking sheet. I'm going to make sure that everything is spread out. So here, so you can get a good look at that. I try to keep it pretty even. I'm not so good at that, but I tried my best. That's all you can do, right? And these smell delicious with all the seasonings. So now we're just going to lay these out, put it in the oven, and if I run out of room, I'm going to go get a second baking sheet quickly. But I think I have enough room. You can also kind of use the sides of here, even if not everything seems to be like fully covered up. You can kind of just lay it on the edges there. You could stack. Also, if you're gonna have to like not have so much space here, like I don't have so much space, so what I'm gonna do is I'll leave like the smaller ones closer together, because those ones don't need as much time to cook, right? I also like to leave some of them skin facing out, so this way they stand up nicely, and then you can also kind of tell when they're ready to be flipped. Okay, So here you have it. I'm gonna go get a second baking sheet, but this is what you guys are gonna see. This is my sweet potato fries, and they're gonna go in the oven now, and I'll check back with you when they're done. Hey there, so our sweet potatoes are now finished. So you see here, they look nice and good. I burnt a few of them actually, which is very unfortunate, which means that I didn't watch it closely enough. So make sure that you set timers and that you check in on your sweet potatoes frequently to make sure that they don't burn, especially if you're cooking your sweet potato fries on a bit of a higher temperature like I did. You just have to make sure that you're careful with that so you don't end up burning them, like I did with this one. But it's okay because we have a bunch of ones that are good, that taste delicious. I tried a few. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Please send any pictures or comments, feedback, any suggestions. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your week. Stay well.